So, hey there, Sprout here. So I just finished the base game Final Fantasy XIV and the Heavensward expansion, and I have some thoughts on it. I've tried many MMOs and RPGs, and I've never really had an experience quite like Final Fantasy XIV. I've compiled a quasi-review that has ultimately turned into a blatant recommendation for the experience as a whole. But let me first kind of explain my history with the Final Fantasy franchise as a whole, as well as RPGs. It all started with a little game called Pokemon. I was addicted as a kid and played all of them from Gen 1 to 4, and loved the JRPG turn-based game system as well as the sense of exploration that those Pokemon games offered. The freedom to choose your party, all with their own unique traits and abilities that could be used in different situations, just spoke to me on a certain level that resonated with a very young brain and got me into the genre of RPGs. Around the same time, I experienced the absolute masterpiece that was Kingdom Hearts 2, and it changed everything. On the surface, it was something that I was definitely not into and completely flew into the face of the aesthetic that I liked. Disney characters? That was kid stuff. But I saw my cousin fired up on the old PlayStation 2 and watched him fight these interesting enemies with such fast-paced action combat, with music that was pumping and added a whole new layer of atmosphere. It was on another level. It was totally insane. So I decided to play it myself. And I'm glad I did. Because I met a certain spiky-haired edgelord and his sleek, silver-haired rival, which, much to the intent of the developers, was a gateway into the parent franchise of Final Fantasy. So after that, I went and played some of the original games. Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy X, any of the ones I could get my hands on from my local GameStop at the time. And I quickly fell in love with the stories these games had, their quirks, their nuances, their grandiose sense of adventure, world building, and character development. It all came together in this big crescendo of an experience which not a lot of games, especially at the time, could come close to replicating. Until the year is 2007, and there was one game dominating the conversations of the local playground and backyard talks, and that was RuneScape. The first ever MMO I had personally ever experienced in my life, and the first game to really give me a true sense of discovery and excitement for exploring a new, unforgiving fantasy world with my friends. It was something I had never felt before, and I was hooked. And for a long time, nothing could ever come close to that. So, for the majority of my childhood, I played that and Final Fantasy games and Kingdom Hearts on the PlayStation 2. As the years went on, my tastes changed, and I started to get more into the Xbox 360 era of shooters, Halo and Call of Duty, and a little game that you might know, Skyrim. It changed the video game landscape overall. MMOs just kind of eluded me at the time. Until that is the year of 2014, with a little known game called Destiny. Destiny was my first step back into the MMO landscape. And I know it's more of an MMO light, but I digress. I took on the raids, PvP, and multiplayer story goodness, and it was my go-to MMO up until this past year, realistically. During the 10 years of Destiny, I did, however, try games like World of Warcraft and Elder Scrolls Online, but they all kind of missed the mark. They all lacked a certain quality to them that I have been waiting to experience in gaming, which was a deep narrative and a real reason to be playing online. Destiny has come close many, many times over the years and has almost justified its always online features with raids and dungeons, but not in the way that I've felt recently with the titular game we are talking about in this video. And so I think I might as well get started talking about that game called Final Fantasy XIV. So, it's that time of the video. Have you heard of the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV with an expanded free trial, which you can play through the entirety of A Realm Reborn and the award-winning Heavensward expansion up to level 60 for free with no restrictions on playtime? Well, you should. If you haven't, you really, really should. And here's why. You may have seen that meme circulating around the game space for a few years now. Maybe you're an emotional vampire who likes to watch sprouts go through the pain and heartbreak, like my viewers on Twitch. Maybe you've had that one friend in your World of Warcraft guild or Destiny clan or whatever talk about how good Final Fantasy XIV is, and that you should try it. Well, Final Fantasy kind of lies to you about what it really is, but it's to its detriment. Final Fantasy XIV has all the ingredients of an MMO, but really, at its core, it's a classic Final Fantasy experience. Unlike some of the MMOs I've referenced before, Final Fantasy XIV has one goal above others, and it really focuses on that goal without compromising the integrity of the experience, which is being an RPG first. The amount of polish and detail that goes into the story is remarkable, and that's coming from someone who's only finished the base expansion of A Realm Reborn and Heavensward. To simply call Final Fantasy XIV an MMO is a disservice to the game overall, as it's more of a multiplayer narrative experience, unlike many others out there. The magic does, however, lie in the cooperative element of the game. When you queue up for a dungeon or a trial or a raid, it really feels like you are in a classic Final Fantasy party. All of your friends have their own jobs and roles in combat, while it does largely stick to the golden rule of 3, tank, healer, DPS. Final Fantasy XIV provides the most amount of variation in its classes I've ever seen in an MMORPG. On one character, you can swap to whatever class or job, as they're called, you want to play at that moment. You are not limited, much like World of Warcraft or Elder Scrolls Online, or even Destiny, or Destiny 2. You are able to play all the classes all in one character without having to restart and do it all over again, which in my opinion is extremely user-friendly. On that topic of user-friendliness, Final Fantasy XIV is one of those few games in today's landscape that truly puts its player base first. There are no in-game microtransactions. None. Not even a battle pass. While there are cosmetics that you can buy, they are all not accessible in the game and not advertised to you in any way, shape, or form, which is a breath of fresh air compared to games like Fortnite or Call of Duty or even Destiny as of late. On that topic, when you access the free trial, it doesn't ask you once to buy the game or sign up for the monthly membership fee, which is really, really nice. I mean, on top of that, every expansion has patch content every few months that gives you free stuff to do. Raids, dungeons, trials, you name it. All of that comes free when you buy the game, which in my book is an A+. Not to mention, do I have to say it again? No tacked on battle pass system to bleed your wallet dry? Who would have thought? Not me. And in terms of money, There's a monthly subscription. I know. But it's only like $12 a month, which is really not bad compared to some of its competitors. And you can easily pick up the game with all the expansions for like $30 on sale. And it's on sale a lot. That's what I did. Price point wise, you get a lot of mileage with no money in playing the free trial, which is hundreds of hours of content jam-packed into this game. And even more if you decide to go all in and buy the game forthright. Final Fantasy XIV kind of defies its MMO roots. While it does have MMO qualities, it really strives to deliver a heartfelt and genuine Final Fantasy narrative experience that you've come to expect from the series, which is why I think it is warranting of a numerical entry in the series. Most of the time, spin-off games tend to be X2 or Final Fantasy Tactics. So it's odd that something that's so unlike most Final Fantasy games would bear that numbered entry. However, I think a lot of praise needs to go to the developers overall, because they do ultimately deliver on that experience of having a Final Fantasy game set in an MMO world. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's an MMO. It's a monthly subscription MMO. And while I think that's kind of the only negative the game really has going for it, it really is worth it in the end. And the developers themselves have even come out and said, if you want to take a break from the game, don't resub. You're not going to miss anything. Now, I just finished what's called 3.0, or the base Heavensward expansion, and I've been streaming all of it for my viewers, who are probably some of you guys, every day on Twitch, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And it's been a wonderful journey to have everybody come out watch with me. And I'd like for you, if you're a new person watching this video, come check it out with us. I think as of this video going up, next week we're going to be getting kind of deeper into the post-patch Heavensward content. I'm really excited for that stuff, because Heavensward, oh, that was a doozy. But no spoilers, and don't go looking for them, because they're everywhere. The game has really, really resonated with me, especially being a bit of a Destiny refugee as of right now, because I don't know about you, but I saw that showcase and it was not great. But thank you for listening to kind of my review recommendation video. It's kind of been all over the place, but ultimately I think at its core, the message resonates. It's time to try the critically acclaimed FF14 with extended trial. It's just good. It's so good. If you haven't at least tried the game and you are into fantasy RPGs or MMOs, this one's a good one. And that's coming from a Bungie Destiny 2 player. But anyway, make sure to subscribe, like the video if you enjoyed it. Go ahead and comment and tell me what you think. Tell me what your experience of Final Fantasy XIV or the Final Fantasy experience as a whole has been like for you. I actually really love talking to you guys. We also have a Discord. Go ahead and join the Discord. I'm going to put the link in the description. We all kind of come there and talk about all of our different gaming experiences, and not just Final Fantasy stuff either. But I've been Wraith of the Nine. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.